What is going on, guys? MMA Island team, we got the fight picks, and we got UFC 255. Figueiredo taking on Perez, but we're not talking about that one right now. We are talking about Kyle Daukaus taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Man, I always say this, interesting fight, but this is an interesting fight. You got two guys with very, very impressive records on the early part of the card. So you got two guys with some really high potential, and a guy in Kyle Daukaus who I think a lot of people looked at with some very, very high potential until he goes on to face Brendan Allen. And man, we were all pretty high on Brendan Allen until I'd say about last weekend.
Yep.
It was a interesting fight there as well as this one. And interesting to talk about. I'd like to get a whole I'd like to get a video where we talk about the fights on the in the past weekend, because I got a lot to say about a lot of the fights. So we should definitely
We'll start doing that in the future.
But talking about this fight, man, Kyle Daukaus, as I mentioned, Brendan Allen in his last fight, 9-0 at the time going into it, 8 submissions, 1 decision win. I think a lot of people favored Daukaus to win it. I can't remember who I picked. I'm pretty sure I picked Brendan Allen.
Everyone was picking Brendan Allen.
But yeah, so going into that one, there was some hype behind Kyle Daukaus' name. You're even seeing Chris Daukaus get some hype behind his name as well.
That's deserved.
Yeah, definitely. Proven me wrong twice in a row now. So
Yep.
Looking at Stoltzfus, man, this is one thing that I found kind of crazy that Zach mentioned to me here, is that the line is shifted heavily favored towards Daukaus. I don't know exactly what the line is, but to say that you're favoring Daukaus in this one, I don't know if I can do that, just because you're looking at Stoltzfus, a guy who we've seen get these crazy finishes, and obviously you can't really include his last one because of the slam and the elbow. Oh man, that sucked. I remember him getting up and being like, oh gee, like that was painful to watch. And it's kind of crazy how he gets a pay-per-view card in his debut after that. So hey, I guess he earns a contract. Hopefully we see Piper back. But yeah, the fight before that, Twister submission, shout out TKZ, shout out Bryce Mitchell, getting a Twister sub. So this is one thing that I'm leaning towards, and I'm leaning towards Stoltzfus in this one, actually. So because you're looking at the Brendan Allen fight, and obviously Brendan Allen is very good on the ground. Obviously we didn't even see him on the ground against Strickland.
We should have.
So we totally should have, but we didn't. And yeah, looking at that one, it's Brendan Allen is very, very good on the ground, and you're looking at a guy. So he took down. So Kyle Daukaus actually led the takedowns in the Brendan Allen fight. Brendan Allen, I'm looking at the stats right now. Brendan Allen didn't shoot once, apparently. From what I remember, I think it was first round was dominant for Allen, second round was dominant for Allen, and the third round was close. From what I remember.
No, third round was dominant for Daukaus.
Was it? Well, it was dominant
Yes.
for Daukaus? Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that fight because I remember that fight being a very, very good ground game fight.
It was.
But for the most part, Allen kind of controlled him on the ground, and I do remember that. And even look at the stats, 4-1 for reversals. Obviously, reversals are kind of a weird stat to show when you're talking about dominant ground game. But from what I remember personally, I remember Allen controlling it for the most part. And that's the thing, man. I got to go with Stoltzfus here just because I'm looking at the potential, and you're looking at this guy having those submissions. So what? This guy hasn't had a decision win since 2017. And that's – so what? He's had 3 submissions and 3 submissions and 1 and 2 knockouts, I guess, because the TKO injury. But obviously I only went the first round. We don't know how it would have went after that. But it was a big slam coming from Stoltzfus as well that started that injury. So in a way, you can kind of give him credit. I don't typically like to give credit for injury sort of things. Shout out Colby Covington, Tyron Woodley. But kind of, and that's so different just because Covington controlled him for 5 rounds. But anyways, just kind of favoring the submission game in Stoltzfus. And obviously Kyle Daukaus has some crazy submission game with 89% of his wins coming via submission, but not being able to get I got to go with Stoltzfus on this one. I just think that I like the underdog, and I like the ability to get a guy where he's kind of down, because we've seen fighters have those favored fighters have those decision losses and then kind of draw out from there. So seeing a guy kind of get dominated the distance, and obviously, as Zach mentioned, the third round was dominant for Daukaus, but I don't know, man. Got to go with Stoltzfus on this one. I think it's a pretty good underdog pick. So I'm going with him, and I'm going to say he probably gets it done via decision, because I don't think he'll be able to submit a guy who's that very good at submitting people. Obviously, there are some fighters that are very good at submissions, but also kind of get caught in submissions as well. Alex Caceres, yeah. So I'm going with Stoltzfus on this one, and I'll pass it on to Zach.
So let's keep the agreement train rolling. How about it? Dustin Stoltzfus will also be my selection in this fight, and for a few reasons. I think that they're quite even on the ground. Now, Kyle Daukaus, he likes his Darce choke. He likes his Darce choke a lot. Out of his 9 wins, actually most of them come by Darce choke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of his 9 wins come from Darce choke, and that's insane. But you can see a lot of wider variety of submissions on the record of Stoltzfus. You can see arm triangles, you can see twisters, you can see knee bars. This guy does it all. Now, if you think that he's a one-dimensional grappler, you are wrong. This guy on the feet is really, really good. He throws a lot of power into his shots. That's the one thing. He does kind of slow down a little bit in the third, but when he gets going, he throws kicks really, really hard and punches really hard. And he will go for those legs. He will go for those legs almost immediately. And if he can leg kick Kyle Daukaus, that means his mobility will be a bit less effective. And that's going to be huge when this fight hits the mat, because it will hit the mat at some point. And this fight needs to, so we can watch these two very accomplished grapplers square off with each other. I really want to see how these guys go up against each other. And I think it comes down to who's better off of their back. Because as we've seen from Kyle Daukaus, he was not great on his back against Brendan Allen, and all of his submissions come by submissions that you can get from top position. And there are some submissions on Stoltzfus's record that you can get from bottom position, namely a guillotine choke. So that tells me a few things. That tells me that Stoltzfus will probably be more active off of his back, because we saw that Kyle Daukaus, he was slightly active off of his back, but he wasn't looking for enough submissions for me against Brendan Allen to show that activity. And I think that this fight could get reversed if he gets the fight to the ground and Stoltzfus can get on top. And okay, I'm going to pick Dustin Stoltzfus because I think that the gap on the feet might be a little bit too wide, and I think he's a little bit more versatile off his back. I think this line is absolutely insane. I think Kyle Daukaus is like a -330 favorite.
Wow, is that what it is?
Yeah, I checked before. It's something around there. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bet Dustin Stoltzfus, please.
Good parlay piece to throw in there.
No. Don't parlay underdogs. Don't parlay underdogs.
That can make you some bank.
No, but okay, don't parlay underdogs. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go Dustin Stoltzfus. I'm going second round KO.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah. So we got agreement on this one. Hey, maybe we'll keep it going. Maybe we won't. We'll see. We will definitely see. But make sure you guys are checking out the other Fight Pick videos. We got them all this card, UFC 255. We're trying to get it out a little bit earlier, a little bit later than we were hoping for. But you can watch us next week. We got some big things in the work, guys. So make sure you guys are checking us out. Make sure you guys are liking the video, subscribing to the channel. Make sure you guys check out the other Fight Pick videos.